Hello and welcome to this channel. I am Dr. Anshu coming back with the 10th April, the Hindu editorial analysis. So welcome to you all and how are you? Hope you are doing fine. So if you are new to my channel, just spare some time and see the content. After seeing the content, if you like it, just give me feedback whether it is worst, bad, anything. It is valuable for me. And subscribe to my channel after if you like the content, so that you would never gonna miss the future Hindu editorial analysis of this channel. Anything that content will be coming in this channel. So stay updated and without wasting your time, let's have a recap what we are going to cover. So today it's starting with the front page about the thought of day and today's day, and I am covering every thought of day, like thought of the day with motivations and like today's day. If it is important, I added it. Some slides maybe it missed, but if I was updating all the thought of the day, like it's today's day, what is important to it, but just have a acknowledge. So front page is covering about the China retaliates EU set to follow as a US tariff kick in. RBI cut repo rates by 0.25%, trim GDP growth forecast. Third is about the Ranas likely to reach the today's set and face the trial in 26/11 attack. And this one is more important from our neighbor state. The India's ends transshipment facility for Bangladesh exposed cities congestions. Rohingya are on a brink of starvations and legal milestones. The pandemic looking back and looking forward. And sixth is about understanding the China corridor. So today's editorial is very interesting. So stay till the last and it will going to very amazing. You just give an idea of how to write in the mains writing, and it is very important for a mains writing to for giving some ideas through the editorial. And editorial just taught us. That's why I read by day daily and also help in reading comprehension skills also. So just have a develop some habit of reading editorials. It will just give a, it covers all the holistic approaches of how you can approach in a mains writing. So I never leave it, and that's why I like the Hindu, that how he covers the every writer's aspects in a very good way. Seventh is about India's better off than others in tariff row, RBI governor. And eighth is about India's bank with appeal against Malia and UK. So let's start with the front page with the thought of day. Like, the key is not to prioritize what on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. So it is not like that what you schedule, like it is important to schedule your priorities. So that's important. At the last, it's mattered how you did your work with your priorities by setting your by making your schedules also. Priorities is important. So the first and the today's day is the World Homeopathy Day. It's 10th April. So how it is? Let's embrace the natural healing methods that homeopathy offers. Create a healthier world, one remedy at a time. So we remember this day with the father, the Frederick Samuel. Frederick Samuel, who was German and best known for the pseudoscientific skills alternative called. So contribution to also for the homeopathy day. So moving to the next is, I'm so sorry. So the front page is covering that how China retaliates EU set to follow a US tariff kicks in, and the Beijing will impose like 84% tariff on US good from up to previously announced 34. So US Treasury Secretary move unfortunate, and 27 nation bloc set to launch a countermeasure. So it's beginning of a like trade war. It's a US tariff, China's increases duty, US to 84%. EU vote to launch a counter measures next week. A table shows how a US tariff on a major trading partner. So there's a countries like China. It's it is April 9 it is equal to 84%. So total tariff is now 104%. Mexico is 25%. Canada is 25%. EU 20%. Japan 24%. India is at the with the 26%. So there is 84% tariff on US good, and the Thursday from the 34th there is a announcement by Finance Ministry said on the Wednesday firing that the salvin global trade. So there's a reciprocal tariff on a dozen of countries took effect earlier on 104% duties on a Chinese good. So it's a 27 nation bloc faces a 24% tariff, and also the US metal specifically reposes specifically to the US metal tariffs. So the equipments like the metals that used was exported from the China also. So he imposed 84%, total is 104. The global market is said that Mr. Trump watering 104% tariff China came to into effect, and savage sale of to US bond feared that foreign funds were fleeing in US assets. So it's also Secretary Scott Bessent an interview with the Fox Business Network. China's new tariffs are unfortunate, and there is the most imbalanced economy in the history of modern world. So next is the RBI cut the repo rate by 8.25%, trims GDP growth forecast. So the repo rate is decreases by 0.25% on Wednesday. So its basis point is 6% with the Monetary Policy Committee and voting anonymously. So let me just have a giving a basic thing about a monetary policy and what is fiscal policy. So monetary policy, it is governed by RBI, and fiscal policy, it is governed by Government of India, central. So how they are collectively work for the finances of the country. So the RBI moves come against the backdrop of escalations, and how the 6% the repo rate by basis 25% or 6% Wednesday. So if there is a low repo rate, then loans will be also given at a low rate, so the people will more take the loans. And so the GDP growth this year, so GDP growth this year is 6.7% to 6.5%, and the second time in row that MPC has cut the repo rate by 25 basis point or 0.25%. So committee headed by RBI Governor Sanjay Malhotra also anonymously shifted the policy stances from the neutral accommodative, and it is indicating that it is more worried about economical. So RBI basically it is established in 1935. First governor is Sir William Onslow Smith, and so RBI is not a constitutional body. For becoming RBI governor, any can be a part. Like Raghuram Rajan is not an Indian citizen, so RBI governor can. It is not important that it should be a citizen of India. So it is known as Bankers Bank. So moving to the next article is about that Rana's likely to reach today, said to face trial 26/11. So this case happens of the one of accused that Tahwar Hussain Rana, who was a Pakistan-born Canadian American national, wanted a connection with her 26/11 Mumbai terror. Thus this incident happened in 2008 in the Mumbai and 17 years after this attack killed 166 people in 2006. So official involves in investigations. So after that the one agency comes, that is National Investigation Agency NIA, came into implementation in 2008. So officials involved in investigation and diplomatic resources confirmed the US authorities and handed over the custody to 64-year-old Rana to special team National Investigation Agency on a Wednesday morning. So NIA official is like to land in the national capital, and Rana will then transfer to custody and trial process begins. So next is here the century-old Elphinstone Overbridge is a vital east-west link in Mumbai that will close to vehicular traffic for 2 years from Thursday for reconstruction. So it's pictures in the Hindu Miss, so I added it. Next is how the India aims the transshipment facility for a congestion for a Bangladesh exposed cities congestion. So India aims a transmission facility, basically like Bangladesh after the con- after India has withdrawn the transmitter facility and extended to Bangladesh as a creating a significant congestion of Mumbai airports in Indian airports and Mumbai airports. So already meeting has held at a BIMSTEC. It was a sixth meeting that is held in Thailand, and after the meeting of Mohammad Yunus and our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, there was a certain aspect that ties will be solve everything between them. But the thing is that after the statement made by Yunus, the things had changes a lot, and that is the move is not aimed to impact Bangladesh trade with Nepal, but it was like a weekly press briefing. So India says like this is a transparent, this transparent. We don't have after transplacement, it creates a lot of a congestion in the cities. Pollution is also creating there, and we don't have any so much benefits from it. So indirect taxes. And the Beijing made the statement deemed too controversial, as so that after this controversial statement made by him, northeast ties with the using Bangladesh port, so Indian official refused to confirm whether the withdrawal of transmission facility was linked to Zima. So the Bangladesh had over a period of time resulted in a significant congestion. So these are problems that were, so logistic delays and higher costs were hindering our own export. So firstly we have to think about our own country, that's then we'll think about another. So then this is a good step by him, and also it is creating a backlogs here. The facility therefore has been withdrawn into effect from April 825. To clarify this measure, Bangladesh export to Nepal, Bhutan transiting through the Indian territory, and in 2020 India has allowing the transmitment of cargo from Bangladesh through the India land customs stations, which is sent to be final destination, and as they are sent to countries such as Nepal, Bhutan and Myanmar through Indian ports and airports. So they're sending their exports to Nepal, Bhutan. So one more news is about Rafale M-Jet that is lined for a French carrier Charles de Gaulle at a Varuna exercise last month, and the cabinet committee headed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday, it's 63,000 crore deal for a procure of 26 Rafale M fighter jets. Rafale M fighter is a 4.5 generation aircraft, I think, and it is expected that include 22 single jetters that can operate in the aircraft, that has been 4 twin seaters, and the CCS approved the governor. So the leaves another for a deal with France for 3 additional Scorpion conventional submarines waiting CCS approve, and 3.5 years a contract is signed, and it's about a 16,000 crore deal signed, and there's a Rafale M-Jet approach there. And so the DAC, it's a Defense Acquisition Council chaired by Minister Rajnath Singh, ordered his initial approach for procurement of 26 Rafale M fighters. Moving to the article that was covering the aspects of the Rohingya on the brink of starvation, how it is leading. So basically the writers covered the approaches that, so already it's a 4-day visit in Bangladesh, and United Nations Secretary Antonio Guterres visited Cox's site. It is one of the world's most overlooked humanitarian. I just forgot to put the map of the Cox area, and that will be more clear to it. But if the tutorial come tomorrow with Bangladesh, I will add it too. So the over 1 million of Rohingya refugees in Cox Bazar, teetering on the edge of catastrophe. So their fragile existence and even more drum. So Rohingyas are basically the Myanmar refugees, and their fragile existence had been precarious by Trump administration abrupt. So US said historically the largest humanitarian and causes spent about 40 billion a year globally. They has been slashed by Department of Government to by billionaire and advisor of Mr. Trump, Elon Musk. So it ironic that US has declared atrocities against Rohingya as genocide, signaling commitment to respecting protect human rights, and is today has kept over 1 million of displaced Rohingya alive in Bangladesh, the second largest recipient of USAID in Southeast. So what are the catastrophic consequences here? Like slash to USAID funding sent has shockwaves through the global humanitarian. Like it has served a vital lifeline, exposed refugees around the world to starvation, disease, insecurity, and Rohingya who have already endured genocide, exile, decade of stainless consequences of decision of catastrophe, and medical aid has been delayed, and also shutting down at least 5 hospitals shutting down, sanitation programs collapsing, and this is the ideological experiments dismantling global aid carried out on the banks of world's most vulnerable people. So what is a weak moral compasses here? That he is has long dismissed USAID financial black hole and dismantling the rebel deeper ideological inclination and tech billionaire fantasies. So Mr. Musk, like any libertarian, that have market solve problem more efficiently than government, but hunger and displacement, genocide are not a market failures. Like the collapse of USAID funded gender-based violences, including the women and children, without protection, medical care, and exposing them to the heightened risk of exploitation and harm. So USAID is not just a number about values. American moral encompasses question. World richest men believe that spending on starving refugees is wasteful. The problem it also reflects the broader shift. So there was an image also of a Cox Bazar. Cox Bazar basically their area where all the refugees still there, and the mother is unable to feed her child. A clinic forced to turn away dying patient. A child scavenging for a scrap and camp, and then become a policy where the whims of rich dictate. So the retreat from this aid will not go unnoticed. Historically, the US foreign assistance has been purely altruistic, soft power. So the huge vacuum is created. Like if US withdraws funding, can another nation be pitched? US alone contributed nearly half of the World Food Program budget in previous year, making it a sudden withdrawal of near impossible burden to redistribute among remaining donors. The food ration cuts leaving the Rohingya refugees on the brink of starvation. The European Union placed the 32.3 million. Japan and Italy have made commitments, but none of us fill the gap left by US. So the collapse of USAID sets a dangerous precedent, and if the world's richest country can turn it back, one of the most vulnerable group, what would be other top nation? Rohingya crisis is not just a test for those suffering; it is a test for human civilization. So as a Mr. Guterres said, Cox's Bazar, we cannot accept the international community forgets about Rohingya. He added that he will speak up loudly to world leaders, and question is that why this humanitarianism is eroded, or it will reclaim the compensate world oldest and leadest democracy nation which have poured billions of dollars for one Europe through the Marshall Plan in 1948. So the writer is highlighting the second aspect. Already the countries suffering from the what is the US has happening in all what the trade wars is happening, the Russia's Ukraine war highlighting, but nobody talks about the refugees of Rohingya, that how their life is affected by the withdrawal of the Trump administration of abrupt shutdown of US Agency for International Development Funding USAID, which contributed almost like 40 billions a year dollar globally, and it is slashed by Department of Government Efficiency as DOGE by billionaire and senior advisor Mr. Trump alone. So richers are not believe in helping the poorest, the vulnerable ones. They think that this is a waste of time on feeding them. Just let them strive, and no country in the place of US, no countries fill these vacancies. Like the European Union, also Japan, Italy had made the commitment, but none of them can fill the. So this is the writer is discussing about the Rohingya refugees, how their life is affected, and this led to the starvations. They are just on the disease, on the insecurities, and they also endured the genocide, exile, decade of stainless. So the writer is very beautifully depicted about this aspect that nobody is talking about it. Next is that it's a legal milestone. We already discussed about this, but just have a small small snapshot type of yesterday editorial. It's that how the Supreme Court has made a strict rules regarding the governor of RN Ravi of Mr. Ravi to handling the 10 bill passes by the state and to their constitutions to change the responsibilities and just shine the bill, not like government is act as a guidance friend for governor, but if it become a path barrier, then how the government other government will implement the laws and there will welfare for peoples, and keeping the reserve bills for the president and not granting the bill is affecting the other bills. So governor, it lays down different timelines, so there should be a different timelines for governor to act a bill, and it is known that government can no longer indefinitely delays the legislation pretext of security or scrutiny or embarrassingly or with impunity. So it's a So the bill should be passed, and court has effectively changed how governors carry out their constitutional responsibilities, especially over the issues such as appointment of vice chancellor, also to run the state-run universities. So it is no coincidence that bill at the heart of case sought to be replace the governor with the state government as authority. Like Mr. Ravi had forwarded this bill to president. So how it is not a bona, it's this judgment is not merely a legal, but it's a milestone, and it is called for constitutional morality, cooperative federalism. So how it governor is act as a, so this term is used for governor, like a governor is who has a court pointed out to expected to act as a friend, philosopher and guide to state cabinet, not as a blunt instrument for center. So it is should be act in the positive way. Next is the page covering about how the writer is expected highlighted the centers of the pandemic that happens in 2020 during lockdown, COVID-19 pandemic. And I'm just giving us difference between the what is endemic, pandemic and epidemic. So I'm just not able to put the charts, I know, but I'm just telling me in the brief. Like epidemic, it's endemic and pandemic. Okay. So epidemic, if a particular disease is spread at the one location, and endemic is if certain disease is located at a certain location, like this, and if a particular disease is located at same place, it is epidemic. And pandemic, if a same disease is spread to all over the world, it's pandemic. So here the writer is talking about the pandemic that is happened the 2020 and how it affected the life. What is the critical lessons that given by it? So writer is taking about the 5 years ago the COVID-19 around the world, and policies made throughout the leadership, policy statements throughout the leadership internationally, and there could be some of the left pondering Sarmango. So we learned that society moved a healthier, innovative, inclusive society by picking some lessons from the pandemic. So what are the lessons that we learned? That there should be what is lacking behind leadership called leadership. We failed as a healthcare. We failed as a innovative, inclusive society, and also as a policies. So some of the critical lessons institution is writing that several studies indicate low trust and confidence in the healthcare, non-pharmaceutical, pharmaceutical intervention broadly tests like tests and vaccines, mobility impacting the compliance worldwide during. So in India, heterogeneity is reported in COVID-19 infection, like early stages pointed to variation in confidence level, like as highlighted by reports on unreporting of excess mortality. There is a letter published in Science. Other countries faced communication failure, like vulnerable countries. Overall, this underscores the critical role of government, convincing population, public health interventions predicted on a public trust, erosion on the foundation. So like technology is a double-edged sword. It's already questions can be asked as a means writing how technology is double-edged sword. Already questions asked in means about a double-edged sword. So also has a witness unprecedented acceleration in its adoption. So the pandemic propelled the use of AI in a pharmaceutical innovation. The writer research at University of Sussex is at a patient with the writer research University of Sussex, it's a patent data showed an increase in presence and count of AI keyword in a pharmaceutical patents abstract the onset of COVID-19, and Nobel Prizes award Demis Habbis and John M. Jumper of a deep mind and rapid progress by drug discovery innovation spurred by it. And so telemedicine also experienced reinvigoration, offering alternative way to movement face-to-face encounter. So what is vulnerabilities were amplified here. Like a 2030 agenda for sustainable development has been significantly compromised, particularly in vulnerable resource poor economies. Disproportionate effect on COVID-19 on women concerning the child care, work, mental health, and policies invested in specifically address. So the pandemic also triggered the silent global mental health challenges is severely affected as solutions, and COVID-19 is a bare inherent weakness in a healthy system globally. Necessities of a global south nations, and it's a U individual also pointed out there. The crisis brought in focus of debates surrounding intellectuals its intellectual properties IP waivers for COVID-19 and ensuring equitable global access. Africa suffered significantly due to vaccine nationalism, amplifying for need of South-South collaboration. And overall, 5 years since the COVID-19 pandemic, it seems like we may flatten the curves on a health, innovation, economy, and tendencies globally. So to elude this Sarmango, but we are learning actively bridging to create a globally health resilient inclusive society. One is left wonder. So moving to the next article is about understanding the India's China conundrum. The writer is already it's a former director intelligence bureau and former national security advisor like Ajit Doval and former West Governor. So he has discovered in a very holistic and good way. So here's about the experience this already said about the better knowledges reflected here. Like China is evidently not China's Deng Xiaoping, and with the advent of Xi Jinping 2000, China has changed. It has seen retracted from this path on past, valuing its self-pity as a wrong civilization. So if we become a more pronounced, this caution is self-pity. So scrimmages. To some, de-escalation. The border skirmishes with India's Jepsang 13, Demchok 16, Doklam 2017, Galwan 22 confirmed the Sivre hypothesis, and the warm sentiments exchanged between leader of India and China recently therefore need to be taken a great deal of circumspection. And most of the rest world apart from India has been outburst of sentiments. So the thoughts relations in also 24 involving a de-escalation official references to this. So there is only just prior to the BRICS summit in Kazan, Russia, October 24 outlines the India-China border, and patrolling agreement nevertheless remains sketchy. The agreement is focusing primarily on patrolling arrangements. So a degree of standoff is prevailed in the line of actual control. So it is a China. So it's a China that first mark off, and in 24 the Chinese defense ministry observed India and China were implementing the settlement reached between two countries. So it is look forward to harmonious Chinese dragon and also the declared normalcy return to the India-China border after his talk President Levin Simping in Kazan October. So adding our cooperation not only mutual. So also the de-escalation tension border between the patrolling arrangements importance and negotiating stages. Species are however important in dealing with such issues. The reality check is like March announced there is a defense budget of 7.2% over, and that of previous year approximately 3 times higher than India. So should sovereigns are currently believed to be less than 2% of GDP. Defense budget at India is a matter of concern. India and China are not about of India should waste invigilate into accepting people liberations. So India should not be oblivious to fact that while talking peace, China is also strengthening its intended withstand US-led attack and China-led in artificial intelligence today. New age of warfare. Like China has taken a lead for military applications apart from AI concert becoming and rapid advancement in battlefield of digital. So China is also understood to have decisive advantages such as quantum technology, and hence with more than a pious world will needed to convince the world, India included, about China's real intentions before elephant and dragon can dance together. So India must exercise utmost the vigil. So there is a current foreign policy that China has embarked on the request of backyard, new friends in India's backyard, and after the eclipse of Sheikh Hasina visit by Bangladesh chief advisor Mohammad Yunus to China March, Bangladesh has now come directly to China radar, and it is being viewed as good friend. So development apart from being aspect of deep concerns create a new world on India's eastern flank. Also is becoming evident for India's acidly courting the US. Again, if the security remains holy grail, nations of world over, China's appear to be stolen march over India any other nuclear energy domain and remain behind, and there is irrespective relations between India and China. And it is important to component for tussle for energy independence and influence, and also the great power competition including between India and China scale faces patent expandings equation eventually upset and civilization. So this may be the eventually India leaders might be highly improbably at this point of time. So next is about India's are better off than other tariffs and RBI governance. So already there are tariffs about the others, like India's overall exports about 12% of GDP, and it is 2% or 20 for the US. For China it is about 90%, Germany is 37%. And even smaller countries are competitive about 80%, hence the it's a competitive advantages also. Let me just so it is 100 fiscal point in 25. On the basis of 100 basis point fiscal to the impact would be different from other countries depending on the situation they are in, and given our assessment. So 20 basis point this year, primarily arising the uncertainties and so the on inflation front we have said move actually both ways, because our demand that is going to be shrink, and this will help in trade tariff frictions going to shrink in result of trade tariffs. So all these they'll say overall 2% GDP, 2% USA, 12% of GDP. So these are all. So all the other list is how much trade tariffs are over other countries. Next is that Indian banks with appeal of against Mallya in the UK court to hold the bankruptcy order. So London hold a bankruptcy order against the Vijay Mallya in legal battle of seeking reply. And there is a February seeking permission to 69-year-old businessman declared the fugitive and wanted a fraud, money and laundering charges of India. So the banks pleaded the security and was justice in the man rule. What TLP is law firm TLP LLP present the banks from the other ruling to hold a security over lying asset to corrupt. So these also are found in realization and conductions. So TLT pleased to be delivered in outcomes, and also TLTLP. These cases are 2017, and banks are TRT judgment with English courts which pertain to guarantee of Mallya had provided to be relation for loans to be made in Kingfisher Airlines. So this is all for today. Let's starting this session with ending summaries. So front page is covering this thought of day and today's day. Front page covering about China's and RBI cutoff rates. Second page is covering about the 26/11 attack case and about the India's end transshipment. Fifth is about editorial where cover about the detailed views of the writers of Rohingyas on the brink of starvation, and also small corner news we have covered. Sixth is about the pandemic that looking forward, and understanding the India's China's conundrum. And ninth is about the how it is better than other in tariff row by RBI governor, and 10th is about the India's appeal in a Mallya's UK court for hold bankruptcy. So thank you for today, and if you stayed in the last, just give me a feedback suggestion how you like the content, anything it is. If it you don't like it, worst anything, 1-2 feedback out of 10, and just it give me motivation and just work on my the things that is not able to come, the things that is I'm missing out. It also helped me to work on weaker areas. So thank you, and just stay connected. Tomorrow we'll meet with a new editorial. Till now, stay healthy, stay safe, study well. Thank you.